Hello there, my name is Kevin Durjun of TCM Academy, and I'm here today with leading women's health Chinese medicine practitioner, Keren Sela. Hi, Keren.
Hi, Kevin.
Today we're going to talk about motivating yourself and building up a successful practice. Now, just to kick off, how did you first get launched into the world of Chinese medicine?
It's a short burst, right? But it's a long story. We'll make it really, really short. The short answer is by accident, completely by accident. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was on my way to a doctorate in microbiology. And then life circumstances brought me to the States, and I was thinking what would be interesting. And I saw this advertisement in a newspaper about a Chinese medical school, and I just said, wow, that sounds really interesting, even though I had absolutely no experience in Chinese medicine before. And I signed up, and it turned out to be the best thing I could have ever done. Completely changed the course of my life, but really just an intuitive gut feeling that it was going to be interesting. There wasn't a lot of, mental thought behind it, which is probably the way that most of the best things that have happened in my life happen. So.
What advice would you give to students starting out in a career in TCM?
All right. Well, first of all, the studies are really hard, They're 4 years in America. I think they're 4 years here in Israel as well. They're very, very intensive, and it can be really overwhelming. And I think when you come out, you're sort of lost, right? Because you've had all this information pumped into you, and you need to study it and memorize it. And then you're out and you don't know what to do. I think the best thing that I did in the beginning was right after my studies, I spent 9 months in China. And it was a long time, but I saw hundreds and hundreds of patients coming through. I didn't treat them, but I had notebooks, and I was writing down every single thing my teachers were doing. And when I came back to Israel, after that, I felt that, okay, I have a good enough base that I can actually start copying what I had learned. And that is a really good thing as well. Fortunately for me, I have to say, this was 21 years ago. Social media was not a big thing. I was fortunate enough to be just on the husk of it, the very end beginning part of it. I did not need to post things on Facebook and on Instagram and start advertising myself, but slowly build up my reputation here in Israel and my patient base. Today, I think that from what I see, social media is a huge part of what's going on. And maybe, you can show like small videos or explain yourself, or have a website and start explaining what you're doing, and just maybe write a few articles and things like that. I'm saying again, I was really fortunate not to have to deal with that. I think though the main thing I want to say is that it's an endless learning process. And I study all the time. I keep on taking courses for CEUs to keep my American license active, even though I'm not there. But it wouldn't matter, even if I didn't have that. It's an endless learning process. And that is a huge part of starting off. You're always listening to and getting more information and building up your confidence in that way.
Keren, how would you recommend that practitioners at all stages of their practice, how would you recommend that they build and develop a successful, thriving practice?
Well, one thing is, again, this learning process, okay? When you study and you learn more things you add to your toolbox, then that gives you more confidence, and you portray that out to your patients. So that, I think, is really the main message I want to send here. Continue studying all the time, and widen your scope every single time. Different things that are interesting to you. That's one part of it. Another part of it is, I think, interning as well. Because once you understand that you're not alone and you have someone that you can go and study from and ask questions and not be embarrassed to ask questions. You know, I noticed something very interesting these past few years. I sometimes tell a patient, hold on a minute. I remember something that's written somewhere and I want to look it up because I have this idea, but I don't exactly remember what it is. And I'll come back with, you know, like a book or something. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what I was looking for. And this really, really fits. I would never do that when I was younger because I always felt that it was embarrassing. They maybe think that I don't know enough and that I'm not good enough, you know? But now it's like, what, hold on, I need this book. You feel confident enough. And I think that's a really nice part to show that kind of vulnerability, but it's not really a vulnerability. It's a thing of, I have all this information, I want to access it. And look, I'm doing it in front of you. Here's a lecture I heard by Jeffrey when he said this and this and this. This is the exact point I want to use right now. But wait, I want to make sure that, you know, I remember this correctly. And I'll come back and say that to them. Don't be embarrassed to do that. You know, we're not supposed to remember everything. And in the beginning, we're kind of frightened that maybe we don't know enough and we're not good enough. And I think that's important as well.
There's absolutely a very big difference between having a great memory and having professionalism and intelligence. Very, very different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And finally, Keren, you've been a practitioner for a number of years. How do you keep motivated?
It goes back to studying. Look, it's studying. I study all the time. And I get motivated by my patients as well, because they come back and they'll say things to me that sort of spark an interest, and then I'll go look it up or I'll start studying it. And I continue to study all the time, year-long courses of different things that are interesting to me, whether it's live courses, now everything's on Zoom, but all the time. And then it opens up these different horizons and you keep on, you know, you don't see the same thing because you can. Let's say a lot of my practice deals with fertility issues still these days. And then it's repetitive, right? Because there's so much, there's certain things that you do and every patient is different, but still there's something that keeps on coming back and you can get tired of it and it can wear you out and you can burn out a little bit, but then you go and you study something. It's like, boom. And then you finally figure out that, wow, this thing that I studied that supposedly is not related at all to what I'm doing, it ties in so beautifully and it changes your way of looking at things. And then you come back with all this new energy again. So study, keep on studying all the time.
Keren Sela, what an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.